Assalamu alaikum students. Last class we have seen Geography Unit 3 India Agriculture and types of soil we have seen. Same the time we have seen about the irrigation, sources of irrigations. Now today we are going to see same lesson Geography Unit 3 part 2 we are going to see. In this lesson we are going to see about the agriculture. Agriculture. What is meant by agriculture? You know, agriculture is the process of producing food for people, fodder for cattle, fiber and many other desired products by the cultivation of certain plants and the raising of domesticated animals livestock. Major determinant factors of agriculture: landform, climate, soil types, water. Landform. India is a land of diverse landscape, comprising of mountain, plateaus and plains. Among them, the plains are more suitable for agriculture due to rich alluvial soil, which enhance the agriculture productivity. For example, plains of Ganga and Kaveri. Climate. Most part of the India lies within the tropics and enjoys tropical monsoon climate. The abundant solar energy favor the growth of crops throughout the year. The seasonal rainfall added with the irrigational facilities also contributes for the cultivation of crops in all seasons. The amount of rainfall determines the cropping pattern. For example, wheat requires moderate temperature, whereas rice requires high temperature for its growth. That's why wheat is cultivated in Punjab and rice is cultivated in Tamil Nadu. Soil type. In spite of the growth in technology, soil still continues to be one of the most important geographical factors in determining the crop pattern. Thus, rich alluvial soil favors the growth of rice and sugar cane, while black soil favors the growth of cotton. Water. Another most important factor in the determining agriculture is the availability of water. Without water, even we can't live. India is a monsoon country with uneven distribution of rainfall. Irrigation facilities cannot be given to all parts of the nation. So, crops that require abundant water are grown in areas of high rainfall or in regions covered under irrigation. High rainfall regions we can keep as Western Ghats or Assam, Masinram is the place of very high rainfall region. To meet the food requirement of the growing population in the areas of low rainfall regions, example Rajasthan, we can keep the Rajasthan. Dry crops are grown there without water, with the less rainfall, with the less water, dry crops can be grown there. India is determined by a set of factors. Some of the important factors: physical factors, relief, climate and soil. Institutional factors: size of farm holdings, land tenure and land reforms. Infrastructural factors: irrigation, power, transport, credit, market, insurance and storage facilities. Technological factor: high yielding varieties of seeds, chemical fertilizer, insecticides, machineries. Types of farming: subsistence farming, shifting agriculture, intensive farming, dry farming, mixed farming, terrace farming. Now we are going to see about the subsistence farming, shifting agriculture, intensive farming, dry farming, mixed farming, terrace farming. subsistence farming, shifting agriculture, intensive farming, dry farming, mixed farming, terrace farming. Subsistence agriculture. The predominant type of Indian agriculture is subsistence farming. In this type, nearly half of the production is used for family consumptions. For the family consumption, for the family use, they will take for the family use first, and rest is sold in the nearby markets. The farmers concentrate on staple food crops like rice and wheat. For example, North Ganga plain and in the South Kaveri, Krishna, Godavari and Mahanadi plains. Large scale improvement has been made in Indian agriculture after independence. The farmer tries to get the maximum possible output from the available land with high input of fertilizers, manures, hybrid varieties of seeds, farm machineries, and irrigation facilities wherever possible. This type is also known as intensive agriculture, and it is generally practiced in alluvial plains. So, subsistence agriculture is also known as intensive agriculture. A considerable proportions of farmers in the country practice subsistence farming. Farmers grow crops with the help of family members. All the members of the family will help in the subsistence farming and consumes almost the entire farm produce with little surplus to sell in the market. First they will take everything for their use, then whatever it is in the surplus, they will sell it to the market. Preference is given to food crops. In this, farmers give very important for the food crops. In addition to the food crops, they will grow sugarcane, oil seeds, cotton, jute and tobacco are also cultivated. Traditional farming method results in low productivity. Dry farming. This type of farming is practiced in arid areas where irrigation facilities are lacking. Crops cultivated in these areas can withstand dry conditions. The crops grown generally with the help of the irrigation are also grown under dry farming. In such circumstances, the yields are generally low. Most of the areas under dry cultivation entertain only one crop per year. Terrace farming. This type of cultivation is practiced especially in hilly areas where lands are of sloping nature. The hill and mountain slopes are cut to form terraces and land is used in the same way as in permanent agriculture. Since the availability of flat land is limited, terraces are made to provide small patches of level land. Soil erosion is also checked due to terrace formation on hill slopes. In this, mostly plantation agriculture will be grown. In this type of agriculture, single crops is raised on a large area. The plantation has an interface of agriculture and industry. The plantations are mostly owned by the companies. Tea, coffee and rubber are plantation crops. These crops are grown on the hilly areas of northeastern states of India, West Bengal, Nilgiris, Animalai and Cardamom hills of South India. Shifting agriculture. Different names of shifting agriculture in different regions in India. Zoom, Assam, Ponam, Kerala, Podu, Andhra Pradesh. Odisha, Biwa, Masan, Pinda, Bira in Madhya Pradesh. Shifting agriculture is also known as primitive agriculture. Primitive agriculture is practiced in the forest areas where heavy rainfall occurs. A portion of the forest is cleared for cultivation and crops are raised for 2 or 3 years. Then they abandon the land and shift to another patch. This is still practiced on the small scale in the northeastern states, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala. Shifting agriculture. This type of agriculture is performed by tribal people in a piece of forest land after clearing the trees through felling and burning the trunks and branches. Once the land is cleared, crops are grown for 2 to 3 years, and the land will get abundant as the fertility of the soil decreases. The farmers then move to the new areas and process will be repeated. They cultivate some grains and vegetable crops using the manual labor. It is also called as slash and burn cultivation. Once again, I am recalling different names of shifting agriculture in different regions in India. Name, place. Name, June, Assam is the place. Poonam, Kerala. Podu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha. Biwa, Mazan, Penda, Bira in Madhya Pradesh. Mixed farming. Mixed farming is defined as a system of farm which includes crop production, raising livestock, poultry, fisheries, beekeeping, etc. to sustain and satisfy as many needs of the farmer as possible. They will sell even the egg, milk products, curd, ghee, butter, etc. and fish, even the fish, vegetables, fruits, what they have cultivated in their land.
Cropping seasons. There are mainly 3 types of cropping seasons due to climatic variations at different times of the year. They are Kharif, Rabi and Zaid. Kharif. These crops are sown at the beginning of monsoon, that is May-June, and are harvested during September-October. The important Kharif crops are jowar, bajra, paddy, maize, jute, groundnut, black gram, green gram, and vegetables such as pumpkin, ladyfinger, etc. Rabi. Crops of the Rabi season need relatively cool climate during the growing period but require warm climate during germination of the seeds and maturation. Rabi crops are sown in October-December and are ready for harvest in February-April. Some of the Rabi crops are peas, potato, lentil, wheat, barley, linseed, mustard, etc. Zaid. Zaid crops are summer season crops which do not have to wait for monsoons. They are sown during March-April and are harvested during June-July. Some of the examples of Zaid crops are pumpkin, cucumber, bitter gourd, etc.
Welcome to All Farm.
Sugarcane production begins with the choice of cane varieties to be planted based on local soil and climate conditions. Choosing the right varieties ensures productivity and resistance to disease. More than 600 varieties have been developed in Brazil. The use of fertilizers is limited because solid residues from sugarcane processing are used in the fields to offset traditional fertilizers. Filter cake, for example, rich in phosphorus, is recovered at the mill and utilized as an organic fertilizer. Residue samples are first analyzed in a lab to determine the volumes that can be applied. Once the exact contents are known, the residue is loaded onto trucks and carried to the fields. Sugarcane stalks developed especially for use as seedlings are scattered over the soil by planting machines. The seeds are actually clumps of sugarcane. As it's pulled by a tractor, the machine opens a groove, separates the clumps, and places them in the soil. On average, a cane field must be replanted every 6 years. Brazil is the world's largest sugarcane producer, responsible for 35% of global production. Cane fields cover about 8 million hectares, or about 20 million acres, or 2.5% of the country's arable land. Another residue of sugarcane processing is known as vinasse. Its contents are rich in potassium and other nutrients. Canal systems are often used to carry the vinasse to various points in a cane field. Applying vinasse as an organic fertilizer is a process known as fertirrigation. The practice is tightly regulated by environmental authorities. It reduces the use of petroleum-based fertilizers, which cuts down emissions that contribute to the greenhouse effect. Biological techniques are also widely used in cane fields. Natural enemies are introduced to fight pests and disease, further reducing the use of industrialized chemicals. Close to 90% of Brazil's sugarcane crop is located in the south-central region, where the annual harvest takes place from April to December, coinciding with the dry season. Harvesting at that time of the year allows the cane to reach full maturity with optimized sucrose yields. Mechanization is expanding rapidly and already accounts for more than 55% of the harvest in Brazil's top cane-producing state, São Paulo. Mechanized harvesting eliminates the need to burn the sugarcane straw, an essential step for manual cane cutting. The straw is now separated from the cane by the machine and left on the ground as mulch. It also protects the soil against erosion. The cane is chopped and deposited in a vehicle that moves alongside the harvester. A single machine can harvest up to 800 tons of cane per day. In a growing number of mills, part of the straw is removed from the field and used to generate bioelectricity. In the future, the straw will also be utilized to produce second-generation or cellulosic biofuels. At the end of the day, the harvested cane is transferred to a larger vehicle to be transported to the mill for processing. Manual harvesting is carried out by agricultural field workers. Stretching exercises are a common warm-up practice before work begins. The straw is burned before manual cutting under strict environmental regulations. The burn drives away snakes and other potentially poisonous animals and makes it easier for workers to get to and cut the cane, now without its dense foliage. Machetes are used to cut the cane stalks always close to the ground, where sugar juices are richer. An agreement signed between the São Paulo state government and the sugarcane industry will put an end to manual harvesting in the state by 2017. Once it's cut, sugarcane is highly perishable and needs to be processed in a mill as soon as possible to avoid losing its sugar content. Most cane is delivered to a mill less than 24 hours after harvesting. At the mill, once the truck is weighed, a sample of cane is removed and analyzed in the lab. The sucrose content in the cane determines how the industrial process will be carried out. August and September are key months for the harvest in south-central Brazil, when sucrose levels can reach 150 kilos per ton of sugarcane. After the truck is weighed and the testing concluded, processing begins. The cargo is transferred to conveyor belts that carry the cane to the crushing system. Cane that was cut manually is first washed to remove impurities. The water is treated and reutilized. The cane is then chopped up and readied for crushing. Sugarcane harvested by machines is cut into small pieces by the harvester and skips this phase. After the crush, either by rollers or a diffusion system, what's left of the cane stalk is known as bagasse, a fibrous residue that is burned in boilers to generate bioelectricity. The cane juice is used to produce sugar and ethanol. The projected cane crush for the 2010-2011 harvest in south central Brazil is expected to reach 595 million tons. The juice that results from the cane crush is used to produce sugar and ethanol. Most of Brazil's 430 active mills can produce both. How much of each product is made varies according to market conditions and technical aspects of the mill's design. Juice from the first and second crushes is richer in sucrose and is usually dedicated to sugar production. The first step is to purify the juice, which then undergoes an evaporation and boiling procedure. At this stage, the sucrose is already crystallized. The crystals are isolated in a centrifuge from molasses, which can later be fermented to produce ethanol. The crystals are moved to dryers and then filtered and stored. In all, the process from the arrival of the cane at the mill to the storage of sugar takes 15 hours. Each ton of cane produces about 120 kilos of sugar. The finished product is packaged for shipment to stores and supermarkets. Sugar types for industrial applications are placed in special containers for large-scale shipping. The storage process for all types of sugar produced in Brazilian mills is supervised by the National Health Inspection Agency, known as Anvisa. Brazil is the world's largest sugar producer and exporter. It answers for about 20% of world production and 40% of global sales. Ethanol is produced from sugarcane juice through a fermentation and distilling process. The juice is first purified by various filtering processes until it is ready to be fermented and mixed with yeast. At this stage, the liquid is called fermented wine. The alcohol contained in the wine is recovered in distillation and rectification columns. Hydrous ethanol, the type used in flex fuel vehicles in Brazil, is produced at this point. To obtain anhydrous ethanol, the type that's mixed with gasoline, the liquid undergoes an additional water removal or dehydration stage. The entire procedure from the arrival of the cane at the mill to the finished product takes 15 hours. 1 ton of sugarcane yields about 85 liters of ethanol. Brazil produces more than 30% of the world's ethanol. It is the top exporter and second largest producer of the biofuel, behind the United States. In the 2010-2011 harvest, production is expected to reach almost 30 billion liters. Ethanol produced in Brazil follows strict technical specifications and international standards. Once it's ready, ethanol is kept in large storage tanks until it's sold. More than 90% of the country's storage capacity belongs to sugarcane processing mills. About 80% of Brazil's ethanol is consumed domestically. Although Brazil is the world's largest ethanol exporter, the global market is still limited and highly volatile. Top international destinations for Brazilian ethanol are the United States and the European Union.
Today we have learned about agriculture, determinants of agriculture, types of agriculture, subsistence farming, shifting agriculture, intensive farming, dry farming, mixed farming, terrace farming. In last class, we have seen the major crops cultivated in India. Food crops, rice cultivation we have seen in the last video. Today, in this video, we have seen the sugarcane cultivation. cash crops, sugarcane cultivation. For you, tomorrow assignment. Tomorrow you must want to submit without fail. On time, try to complete the assignment. Tomorrow's assignment, you must want to write what is multi-purpose projects. What is multi-purpose projects, and write any two multi-purpose projects of India. What is multi-purpose projects, and write any two multi-purpose projects of India. This is the assignment for you tomorrow. Submit the assignment on time. What is multi-purpose projects, and write about any two multi-purpose projects of India.